Well, hello there, and welcome to Stories by Will. I am your host, Will, and today we're going to continue reading from the book Tales Told in Holland. Today's story is called Escape of Hugo de Groot, and this is a pretty impressive story. You'll find out the year in it. Um, Toward the end, we're going to find out how international law was actually created. So, this is a really, really cool story. So, before I begin, if you're watching this, please like and subscribe, share it to friends and family if you would. I would appreciate it. I'm trying to get this channel to grow a little bit. We're about more than three quarters of the way through this book, so we're almost done with this, and then we'll switch over to We'll Call Magic Chats on this stream as well. So, there's something else I was going to mention. Looks like I'm getting a little bit of hesitation, so I apologize for that on your side. I'm not sure. I had a lot of issues logging into both Rumble, YouTube, and StreamYard here for some reason. And not everything is popping up the way it's supposed to be doing here. So let's get that going. Go back up here. I think we got everything else. Where's my background? Lost my background again. Get that back up there. I don't know. Sorry for the background. I don't know where it went to. That's not great. All right. Well, anyway, let's just go ahead and jump into the story here. And throughout the story, there's going to be morals and values. I'd love to know what you've learned. There's going to be another book that I'm going to have to look up after we finish this book. That'll be named at the end of this story. So let's just go ahead and dive in. So, Tales Told in Holland, The Escape of Hugo de Groot. In days when Prince Maurice of Orange, son of William the Silent, was standholder of Holland, and the Spaniards had been all but driven out of the land, there arose a fearful wrangling and squabbling between religious parties in the Dutch Republic. And one party said, "Every man in Holland must believe what I believe." And the other party said, "Nay, not so. Every man in Holland must believe what I believe." And with that, they fell into fighting, hurling volleys of words at each other and flinging self will and hatred abroad, just as though neither side had ever heard that the Christian religion was founded on the simple law of love. Well, at this time, there were certain men who had the wisdom to see that each man must believe what to him seemed right, and that, if he be honest, he cannot be changed by force. And among these peace loving gentlemen were John Van Olden Barnevelt, an old man, grown gray, in devoted service to Prince Maurice, and one, Hugo de Groot, or Grotius, a young man of 36, statesman, historian, poet, learned above all others in the matter of law. And John Van Olden Barnevelt and Hugo de Groot became leaders of the party that stood for patience and tolerance. But Prince Maurice had opened his heart to jealousy and of the fine old men whom he owned so much. In whatever way he could, he meant to stand against him, and so he became the leader of the opposition party, which would have forced its dogmas down every Dutchman's throat. Then the statesmen of Holland sent Grotius to Utrecht on business of the party of toleration, which was powerful in that city. But Prince Maurice entered the town with troops. In anger and fear, he bade his soldiers disarm the civic guard, and he would have taken Hugo a prisoner if he had not fled for his life. And now, Prince Maurice had entered on a course from which he would not draw back. He was afraid of John van Oldenbarnevelt. He was jealous of his power and the place he held in the hearts of the people. So he had Grotius and the grand old man arrested and brought to trial. Oldenbarnevelt was condemned to death, a hideous mistake which left on the a hideous mistake which left on the name of Prince Maurice a stain he could never blot out. As to Grotius, he was condemned to life imprisonment in the fortress of Loewenstein. On a beautiful day in June of the year 1619, he was carried off to that lonely place, an island stronghold near the town of Gorkum. Its grim old towers surrounded by water on every side, and Gordius was only 36. What a young man he was to have naught to look forward save imprisonment for all his days. From his little cell in the height of the tower, he could look out over all the broad land, the breath and the free breezes that came and went. But he himself could not come and go. He was shut in there for life. It was good that he was a scholar and could find a world for himself in books. He loved to read and to write, and a friend was allowed to send him books, which were returned as stated at stated intervals in a great chest that bore his washing to Gorkum. Now, the wife of Hugo de Groot, one Marie van Reigersberg, was worthy of her husband, a woman of tender devotion, but likewise of spirit and courage. When friends asked why she did not throw herself at the feet of Prince Maurice and beg him to release her husband, she cried, "No, I will not do that. If Hugo has deserved this, then let them strike off his head." But though she would not beg, there was so much injustice had been shown. She did consent to ask the authorities for permission to share her husband's confinement. This favor was granted on one condition, that should she never come back if once she left the fortress. Accordingly, one fine day, Maria arrived with Elsie, her maid, at Loewenstein. The little gray cell was enlivened with the swishing of skirts and the bright eyes and the gentle laughter of women. But better than that, Frau Marie and Elsie had come to use their wits. They looked down at the water around them and the guard of the soldiers below and wondered how they could help Hugo to escape. Soon, Frau Maria noticed that the guard, which had been exceedingly strict at first in searching Hugo's laundry chest, whenever it went off to Gorkum, had grown quite careless of late. It had been so long of time that he found nothing in it save harmless linens and books. On perceiving this, an idea struck Frau Maria. Her husband could be hidden in the chest and carried out to safety. She and Elsie whispered much together before they revealed the plan to the group. Hugo smiled at the scheme, but he did as the women requested. Every day he lay in the chest with the top fastened down. A few air holes were made, and soon he had accustomed himself to staying in the stuffy little hole for a long time at a stretch. Then all was ready for action. Great was the excitement of Lady Maria and her maid when the great day came and two soldiers arrived for the chest. The Groot, they were told, was in bed, and the covers of his rude prison pallet were stuffed out in such a way that a figure appeared, indeed, to be lying beneath them. Elsie went along with the box to see that it was not roughly handled. Be careful, she said. Don't you know that the books in that chest are of value? Nothing must happen to them. The chest is heavy as though a man were hidden inside, one of the soldiers grumbled. A moment of awful suspense for the group, but Maria, his wife, calmly answered, Books are heavy things. Then the chest vanished out of the cell and was carried off on a canal boat. Thus it arrived at last at the home of Hugo's friend. Scarcely had the prisoner stepped safely from his painful hiding place when he was helped to dress in the costume of a mason. Bending his head beneath the weight of the hood, he made his way to Paris. And all this time, Varao Maria had bravely remained behind in the cell in order that none might suspect what great thing was going forward. Not until she was certain that Hugo was out of the land did she inform the guard what had happened. Then, you may well believe, a great hue and cry was raised, but raised in vain. Hugo was safe on his way. The angry authorities suggested that Maria should be retained in her husband's stead, but public opinion ran too high. All Holland applauded what she had done, and so they were forced to set her free. Thenceforward, Grotius lived in Paris, Sweden, England, or Germany, with Maria and his children, but he never again came back for any long stay in Holland. In the pretty chateau of a kindly French nobleman, he wrote the book of which his countrymen are most proud, Concerning the Law of War and Peace. It's a book we're going to have to look up later. The first great book that ever set down in the laws which should govern nations in their relations to each other. Before the Groot, no such international law had ever been worked out. It was the Groot. It was the first step in getting nations to work together and consider each other's rights. And for this reason, above all others, Holland is proud of Hugo de Groot, whom the world has called the father of international law. And that brings us to the end of this story. And I would like to say, please like and subscribe, share with your family. That book is one that I will look up after we finish. We're 3/4 of the way through. You can, well, more than that. So we're almost finished with this. So we'll take a look at that and kind of decipher that a little bit here on stream. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you on the next story. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.